are there the expected voltages are up to 6000 volt or 6 kV, and above that the exposed lines and the open fields where it can be up to 8 kV and above, even sometimes 12 kV also you may find. And interestingly, you are also working at various voltage levels, and this is where you have to choose your measuring devices appropriately. If you choose a category 1 rated DMM or an oscilloscope or any other test instruments, and if you use it here, then you will be at risk of electrical shock or electrical hazards. Okay, that's why this is very important, and that's why we stress upon this particular reason or the safety thing. And every product of our multimeter or clamp meter which is used for electricity, then it will be coming with an appropriate safety standard, and it is marked and tested by a third-party agency. And apart from that, portability is another big thing, because when you are doing any work in the field, you need a portable, very lightweight and handheld device so that you can easily take it to the field and then do the work. And similarly, ruggedness. Even when we are taking these instruments and working, there is a possibility that it may even fall down, and you may have to continue your work after picking up the unit. That's why we design rugged units, so that it will not fail you in between your work. Similarly, the accuracy levels, we get the best accuracies what we can achieve or what anyone can achieve in our products. And safety, as I said, safety is the best thing which we offer. And ease of use, most of our products we reduce the number of the knobs and then push buttons, so that you will not get confused in using in the field, and you will be able to use it well within 10-15 minutes of time. And then we comply with all the rigid standards required for that product or the application. And when I say the safety standards, you can see the cheapest clamp meter of ours we have tested. For this is actually designed for category 3 and 600 volt. We could test it up to 17 or 18 kV, and it's supposed to withstand only 6 kV, and we did that test, and then we realized that we could go up to that. But we have also conducted a similar study for our own understanding, and we realized that there are brands which actually fails much before the designed levels. So for home application and all, you need not to go for a true RMS multimeter. You can also go for an average responding multimeter. Sorry. And we also have the highest accuracy multimeters like 8.5 digit multimeter also in our portfolio. Similarly, clamp meters. When you want to measure higher currents, you can have this kind of clamp meters, which comes with AC and DC capabilities and all those recording features and other things. For your application, maybe your requirement for current will be much lesser compared to the voltage measurements, but this also will be applicable for you to maintain your the signal and telecom kind of devices and systems. Then we also have a very interesting installation tester. When you have buildings and other facilities where you want to ensure that building safety is mandatory, then you have to have ELCBs and RCDs in place. But many a time we don't test it. These ELCBs and RCDs are whether it is working or not. We have a device or installation tester which can test these RCDs and ELCBs whether it is working or not without even power. And then we have the digital thermometers. Railway use a lot of non-contact thermometers from us and our sister brand called Raytec. And Raytec also is part of actually Fluke. And it is part of Fluke uh, process instruments. And these instruments are all meant for temperature measurement, whether it is contact type or non-contact type, we have this product. And then comes the earth testers. Earthing is very, very important for instrumentation engineers or even signaling engineers or even for electrical engineers work. That means if earthing is not proper, everything else can go wrong. That's why designing the proper earthing and verification of earthing in your facility on a regular basis will ensure the safety and functioning of your equipments in long run. And then we also have indoor air quality tools, which may not be of your interest. Uh, sorry. Then comes the power quality analyzers, which actually gives you the clear-cut idea about what is the kind of quality of power you are feeding into your systems and subsystems or is present in your facility. Because when the earthing system is good, then the power what you are getting from the utilities or your own generation may be harming your equipments and installations. There also you may have to verify what is the kind of power you are generating. Sometimes if the power quality is very bad, whether there is a transient or harmonics present, then your signals may not work if it is interfering with your signaling systems. Because today it is more important because you may be in a crossroads like analog signaling to a digital signaling era. That is, you are migrating to the digital technologies, and digital technologies are always more prone to power quality variations. That means if the power quality is bad, then the digital signaling systems and the communication system can act very weirdly, and that can create more of problem to you. And similarly, we have battery analyzers, which can be used for battery testing, battery condition analysis in online conditions. Like you need not to take it away. You can just go to wherever it is installed. You can verify and then find out what is the condition of this. And then comes the oscilloscopes. When you really want to do the oscilloscope measurements or see the waveforms what you are measuring, it is very difficult for you to carry a benchtop oscilloscope to the field, especially in the railway field, railway tracks and all. It is difficult for you to get a plug point to power on a oscilloscope. That is where our scope meters, which is a completely battery operated, completely isolated oscilloscope, this can help you to identify problems and help you to see the signals what you are seeing in the field. And then we also have field calibrators, which can help you to identify, especially when you have the mechanical signaling systems where you may use 0 to 20 milliamps or 0 to 50 volt kind of signals or 24 volt kind of signals to control certain things, or you may use many of the sensors like temperature sensors or pressure sensors to give alarms or give some control signals. There, if you really want to verify those sensors or the readouts are functioning properly, then we have the source and measurement devices which will help you to identify things. Then we have the vibration analyzers and laser shaft alignment tools. This is basically for the electrical and mechanical application, not for you. That's why I'm skipping that straight away. And then comes the thermal imagers, which basically can help you to identify the heat patterns of the devices and the installations. And sometimes what happens when you have both electrical lines and the signal lines are crisscrossing, this heat can also spoil your signal lines. And those kind of temperature variation you can very easily identify using thermal imagers. This will give you the complete heat map of it. And then comes video scopes. If you have some trenches or some unreachable locations where you want to see what is there inside, this is a kind of endoscopy device, a display unit with a extended camera point, which can help you to see what is there where you can't see or reach out. And then comes the underground pipe and cable tracers. We have two versions. One is for the underground application and one is for the wall kind of applications where you can trace. It is not actually a fault locator. It can actually trace the metallic cables and pipes underneath or behind a wall, how it is going. And you can track exactly where it is going and how it is going, whether there is any cut, and all those things you will be able to identify using this. And this will be a very good tool for you to find out the cables lying on below your earth, and then before you are constructing or doing any maintenance work, this can help you to identify the condition of the cables below you. And similarly, Acoustic Imager, what I said, this is a new tool what we launched where it can detect the leaks, especially in the, I'm not sure whether pneumatics are used for any electrical, any railway signaling, but in case if it is there, then it can be also used for detecting the leaks of pneumatic lines. And this product also can be used for electrical applications where you will be using higher voltage levels, that is your substations and all. You will be using high voltage transformers and systems where you can find a lot of partial discharge issues. When the partial discharges are there, it can spoil your high value equipments and assets. And if you really want to detect those kind of partial discharges, then this device can be used for that purpose also. And when it comes to calibration equipments, we have calibration equipments for all those measuring devices what we discussed, and many things more, that even temperature calibrators, temperature sensors, all those things. If you want to verify, then we also have the temperature sources or a calibrator for that. Electrical calibrators. In RDSO, you are using some of these things already. And then we have humidity calibrators for a similar purpose and the pressure calibrator for that. These are all very high accuracy standards for verification and testing of devices like measuring devices or the sensors and readouts. And we can also build a complete test bench or a test system for such applications also based on your requirements. That is available in India from Fluke. We can build these test systems and support you in meeting your requirements. When it comes to the railroad applications or the railway applications, what we understand is it is actually especially in India, the railways is one of the largest employer, and you have the oldest assets. I feel that is the either trains or even the signaling systems or even the tracks, and every asset of railway may be having an age of around 150 years, I think. And that's why you have a lot of challenges in hand and maintenance. What you people are doing is the actual safety measures or actual work to run this show. Okay, and for that, you actually, if you have the exact measuring devices, I think you will be able to improve or you will be able to avert a lot of accidents in that manner. And in that, we know there are some of our tools like the non-contact thermometers or multimeters, clamp meters, air testers, oscilloscopes, and some of those products what I have discussed earlier can really go hand in hand with your purpose. And when it comes to the test and measurement applications in your facilities, anyway, I don't know whether all of you are from the signaling and telecom. Then I may be talking some of those things which is irrelevant to you, but yes, as a whole, it is relevant to the Indian Railway, and you can take a note and you may be able to share it with others also. When it comes to the highly mechanical, automotive, or the electrical nature of your facilities, you need to do a lot of measurement to ensure that the show is going on, or your machines or facilities are up and running. And whether it is the track and signal lights or critical, the track and signals are actually, you are the backbone for ensuring that there is no accidents in the railway, right? And that's why every signal or every system what you maintain is a critical part of the railway to ensure the safety of the passengers and safety of the assets. And similarly, passenger comfort, you also need to verify the internal, that is the on coach comfort of the passengers. And there also there are a lot of electrical and instrumentation signals and systems for which we have the product, even including the air quality tools we sell for the railway for maintaining the coaches and general testing applications. Then we have the motors and engines and the traction equipments for your maintenance of all these actions. Here, this again a critical things. Here we also supply a lot of vibration lasers, power quality lasers, all those things, and then the power systems, which is actually supporting you for maintaining the entire thing. We also give product lines there. And when it comes to the usages in our products usage in the railway systems, we have various departments and various products recommended or given in the past. That is why if you can see this list, you can find the traction system. We have sold every product of ours. And then rail equipment maintenance and facility maintenance, we have sold most of our products except the process tools. And similarly, inspection, repair, shop operations, we have sold majority of our products. And substations, yes, majority of our products goes into your substations. And then signal and tracks, we supplied our DMMs, our quality analyzers, air testers, and then battery testers, IR thermometers, insulation testers, all those products. Okay, we have at least close to a dozen different products going into Indian Railways or the railways in various countries. And when it comes to, I'll go through some of those instruments which will be of good tool for you to consider also. Multimeters, clamp meters, and insulation testers. That is, you have the multimeters, then the clamp meters, and then insulation testers. But this is a high voltage, that is a 5 kV insulation I have shown. But in the upcoming slide, I also have mentioned the 1 kV models. I will come to that. Why you need these kind of electrical tools is basically you have a lot of devices, especially you are into the safety maintenance, where I think the axle counters are actually coming with the very important component as the safety aspect to maintain the distance between the trains. And these axle counters are special devices where you need to use high accuracy and wider bandwidth DMMs to ensure that you are getting the exact count of this or exact condition of these axle counters. Similarly, troubleshooting of electronics and signaling systems, because most of your signaling systems are now electronics. And if you want to really test these things, you may require a precise multimeter to troubleshoot these electronics and signaling systems. Then the insulation weakness. I think what I understand from my own interactions with your colleagues or your the Indian Railway officials, that the cabling and the installation of even the communication cables or the signaling cables, you need to test on a periodic basis. It may be 6 months or 1 year or 3 years kind of period you have to do, and then ensure that it is all working, because insulation of any material, insulation can change because of various conditions. It can change because of over temperature, over voltage, vibration, or dust and humidity. Okay, and all these things can actually weaken the insulation property of cables and the devices. That's why it is very important for you to ensure that the insulation is proper. And if the insulation is failed, then there is a possibility that you may get accidents, or even this device may not function properly. Let us understand the DMMs as a whole. We have different DMMs. As I said, we have the average multimeters to specialty multimeters. You can see the performance and price of it. We have some of our very good multimeters like 115, which is used by you in many numbers. This is the entry level true RMS multimeter, but very good workhorse, and it can give you the best kind of uh, performance for that price. And then we also have products like 87-V, that is 87-5, which is basically a kind of specialty DMM, which is coming with a high bandwidth and 287 kind of thing. When you go this side, you will find the price is going up and performance is going up. And here you can see even Fluke 115 comes with a 3-year warranty with category 3 600 volt safety rating. And this can be a good safety bet for you for your day-to-day applications. But if you really want to use this product for your axle counter kind of application, this may not work, because this does not have the high frequency capability to do that measurement, and the accuracy level also may be poor. And in such application, you may have to use a high performance DMs like a 87-5. And here you can see the safety rating is again gone up. That is category 3, 1000 volt. It can measure up to 1000 volt with a category 3 rated conditions, or up to 600 volt. It is recommended to use up to 600 volt in category 4 environment. That is how we recommend our instruments. And this also comes with a range of leads and then accessories, and then a lifetime warranty. And interestingly, many a time when you purchase a product, you may not even consider how much warranty it is coming, and you may compare our product with many others, and they may be giving a 1-year warranty or 2-year warranty. When we talk about lifetime warranty, we are talking about the lifetime of the equipment, and as a minimum of condition, we give a warranty of 5 to 7 years, and that is what we consider as the electronics lifetime. That's why 5 to 7 years of warranty period for a buyer is a big thing. And during that time, you will be able to get a free service from us. And if you're taking a low cost DMOs with 1 year, you may be replacing that in 3 or 4 times within that our warranty period time. That means you will be losing a lot of money into that process itself. And then comes the high-end DMM, which this also you are using in numbers, I believe. And this also comes with a lifetime warranty, but this is a kind of overkill. This may be an overkill for your application, because this is a very high-end, high performance DMM, where it also can also meet or do some trend capturing. That is, in case if you want to really capture the output of a sensor, and you can capture like a graph, or you can see multiple parameters in one, like frequency and current, or even you want minimum, maximum, and average of a measurement. All those things in one screen you will be able to get. And this we recommend for very specific work, like your electronic maintenance or electronic troubleshooting kind of application, where you can definitely get much more features in this. And your field application, it may be a slightly an overkill, but for your laboratory applications where you really want to do the troubleshooting and all, this will be a better choice. And here you will find this, as I said, it can capture the trends very quickly over a period of time, and then the select AC filter to smoothen or find some of the critical signals like a VFD or something. If you have, then you have the filter so that it will give a better response to the noisy or changing signals. And similarly, it is a 50,000 count DMM. It is not a very simple DMM. It can count up to 50,000. That means give very accurate readings like 1.001 or 1.999 kind of voltage you will be able to measure. And similarly, it comes with an accuracy of 0.025%. I think your axle counter test must be of 0.5% accuracy, and this gives you much better accuracies. And AC measurement accuracy goes up to, or the bandwidth goes up to 100 kilohertz. Okay, and it also comes with a bandwidth limitation, so that you can apply these DMMs for various other things. And again, the warranty is lifetime. And then we have another interesting product which is a combination of multimeter and a clamp meter and a thermal imager in one. This we are not sold much in India because the price and the usage is limited for many of the customers. But this can be a good tool for your kind of purpose, where you want to really combine multiple things in the field application, where you can use multimeter and thermal imaging functions very clearly in a very easy manner with DMM itself. Then comes the clam meters. I have seen a lot of Fluke 325 going into railway applications, and many, whether directly or indirectly, these products are coming to you from Fluke. And this is a very interesting, very easy to use clam meter, which can go up to 400 ampere, and it has two ranges, 40 amps or 400 ampere. That's why you can use it for low current applications and high current applications, and it can also measure 600 volt, and other resistance continuity measurements also is available, and that's why it's very easy to use. And you can also see the category rating here. It can go up to category 4 locations with 3000 up to 300 volt measurement, and category 3 locations up to 600 volt measurements. Then we also have supplied in some pockets of railway for low current applications. We have our sister brand called Amprobe, and this Amprobe is basically the innovator or inventor of the clamp-on current meters, and that brand also is under Fluke now. Okay, and here this is a very simple device where you may have to find some very low current measurements like in milliampere resolutions. Then this can give you very handy solution for that, and that also with a better safety rating. Then comes the insulation testing. Insulation testing, as I said, this can really create a lot of problems when the failed insulation in electrical system can cause even fire accidents. In the communication systems can create some kind of short circuit, and then it can spoil the devices, or it can spoil the signaling itself. That is, it may not function the way it's supposed to function. That's why you have to have the insulation testing appropriately or as recommended by the standards to ensure that your facility is running appropriately. For that, we have installation testers for up to 1000 volt, up to 5 kV, and up to 10 kV kind of models. We don't have the very high end ones, but especially for the field usage and for your application, I believe that your voltage levels of insulation will be up to 1 kV. And here we can share these two models. These two models are actually very popular insulation testers from us, and you can see the insulation test voltages. You can single press, you will be able to get what voltage levels you want, and then 1507 on 1503 will be able to give you the voltage level. Even 03 can give you two voltage levels, 500 and 1000 volt. Here you can get multiple choices, 50 volt to 1000 volt ranges. And insulation range also is very high, that is 10 gigaohm of resistance in this model and 2000 megohm in this model. Okay, that means you have the detailed insulation portfolio analysis can be done using these products. And the pass fail analysis also you can do, PA and AR also you can do, but I think these are all you may not be doing it on a regular basis, but you can decide. Maybe you have a new cable, or you want to just really understand what exactly the PA and AR, that is polarization index and dielectric absorption rate. Then you can find those things also. And it also, both these models comes with the auto discharge, so that it will not hold any current when you are doing the high voltage testing. The DUT may absorb some current, and then it may give a shock if it is not having the auto discharge in your tester. And that's why you need to be very careful in that choosing the high voltage testers or the insulation testers. Otherwise you may end up getting shocks. And then the resistance range and milliampere continuity range also is there. That's why you can find the integrity of those lines. The continuity is good or bad, you can do. And this product actually comes with a warranty of 1 year. And we are going to launch a 2.5 kV insulation tester very soon to meet certain customers and even railways application, some of the applications like electrical side. And as I said, the earth testers, which is why the earthing is important, means Earthing is designing of earthing and ground system for railways or any facilities, whether it is railway or even a house or even a commercial building or a factory. The earthing is actually the base for every electrical and signaling systems or the communication systems. If that is not good, then you may not be able to find uh, the real reason for failures. Okay, that's why designing of earthing and maintaining of earthing is very, very critical for all kind of application railways. And maintenance and troubleshooting of existing earth pits and system for integrity and foolproof working. That is, if you have earthing system, you may be having an earthing system, but it may be 100-year-old or 10-year-old. But how these earthing wires or earthing systems are working, if you really want to find out, yes, you need to have a better test tools to do that. And why it is very, very important, the earthing is very important. If the earthing is not good, the personal safety will be at risk. That means the earthing is basically to ensure that there is a leakage of current can go back to the earthing, or when the electricity start flowing from one point, it will strive to reach the same source. Okay, whatever may be happening, it will reach there. Okay, but what happens if there is a leakage or if the earthing is not proper? Whatever comes in contact with that lines or the leakages, that will be the path of short circuits, and that will become it can become, even human being can become the path for electricity, because our resistance is only 1500 ohms. Okay, a human's resistance is very low. That's why you are prone to get electrical shocks, and it may be a very difficult situation if the earthing is not proper. And protection of equipments, when the every electrically operated equipments, to protect it, you need a protective earthing. And if that protective earthing is not proper or not connected, then something goes wrong inside the device, can actually give a leak on its body, or it can kill the device itself. And if there is a leakage on the device, when somebody is touching on that, he also may get a shock. Protection of systems, improve the reliability of power supplies, that is whether that is utility or your own electrical systems. If your earthing is proper, you will be able to the reliability of your earthings, the power system, overall power system will be much better. I'm just touching upon these things because otherwise we may take a lot of time. And similarly, what are those kind of testing or the testers you need to have? What is the kind of testers you should use for measuring soil resistivity? Okay, soil resistivity means earthing is actually designed based on the soil resistivity, the resistance of that soil present in that facility. Okay, you may have to find that what is the resistivity of that, and then decide what kind of earthing you need to do, whether you need a pipe earthing or a mesh earthing or a plate earthing kind of thing. And then state of the art technology digital testers are actually used for accurate measurement. You can use a digital testers or a analog tester, but it has its own advantages and disadvantages. And ground resistance is directly proportional to the soil resistivity. That means you first have to find what is the soil resistivity and then design it so that you can achieve the best resistance levels. And especially for some critical application and communication systems, where people recommend at least very close to, that is 2 ohms or less. And some of your applications, it may be 5 ohms or less. Okay, in calibration laboratories, it may be 1 ohms or less kind of resistance you need to maintain in the electrical grounding systems. What happens when you use this product, whether you are using an analog type or a very low cost type, what actually happening is, here is a quick comparison of this, the analog meters and digital meters. Usually the analog meters comes with a very poor accuracy. Okay, and it can affect 25% of full scale error in that. Okay, and this means when you are doing the analog instruments and then doing the testing, you may end up getting very wrong confusing readings. And that's why we always recommend a digital meter. This true for even insulation testing applications. You better use a digital meter, because the analog meters always comes with that parallax error. Okay, you yourself will be uh, adding some error into that, and that's why you can avoid, if you use a digital meter with these kind of unexpected unwanted errors. Then voltage levels, 250 volt hand cranking. When you do generate a voltage using hand cranking, it will be difficult for you to achieve that, and it takes time. And here it will be a kind of voltage automatic generated internally using a microprocessor control. Okay, that means you will have a very steady voltage, and here you may get even the 5% kind of accuracy. Okay, here you may get the precise 30 volt or 50 volt what we generate. And why we limit this voltage is as per the IEC standards. It is actually 50 volt is what is recommended for our testing, and sometimes it's 250 volt also. But majority of the applications, the precision of the voltage is very critical to ensure your accuracy of your measurement. And frequency can be different for this one, and here the frequency is fixed, but here there is a possibility of you getting multiple variation of frequencies, so that you will be able to test your systems with different frequencies to ensure that nothing is going wrong. And spike resistance, here it will not indicate anything, but it will also compensate the spike resistance. Open circuit, here no indication for open circuit, but all those kind of indications and ease of use is available in digital multimeters of attesters. And then earthing is having different, because earthing is basically, many people, even electrical engineers, are understanding it very wrongly. Okay, there are different methods of test methods, like fall of potential method, where you need to use multiple stakes, that is 3 to 4 stakes, and find out what is the kind of soil resistivity of your location. And for that you need to have multiple stakes and a device which is very properly pumping that voltage for this kind of testing. And then actually what it does, it actually pumps the voltage across two terminals, and then measure the resistance between these two, or the potential difference between these two stakes, and then calculate the resistance. And that is how the testers work. And many a time when you are using a low end instruments, I know I have seen very many of our customer places, they use some kind of 10,000 rupees worth devices, which always gives a right reading. and, and this actually misleading one, and they don't know what exactly they are doing, what mistake they are doing. And when you are getting always right reading in earthing, you can be sure that the instrument is faulty. Okay, I have proven it at least in half a dozen customer locations where I have demonstrated, and that's why I'm very confidently telling this. And similarly, selective methods, when you have the transformer, or sorry, telecom towers or something, where you will have a lot of uh, large poles, and where if you want to use the measurement, then you may have to use selective method, that is use one clamp and two stakes. You will use one clamp and two stakes to ensure what is the kind of measurement or the resistance you are getting. Okay, here you are using 4 stakes. Okay, and fall of potential again uses 2 stakes. You can have the same thing with two stakes also. And uh, selective testing using one clamp, and then you have the stateless method, that is we have this instrument coming with 2 clamps and 4 stakes and 2 reels of cables to connect all these things. So that what you can do is, in case some places where you don't have facility to dig these stakes, then you can use these clamps. One is a sourcing clamp and the other one is a measuring clamp. That's why it will measure both it will inject the voltage, and it will also measure the voltage from this, and then get you the exact uh, earth resistance of that system. Because why these 4 methods are important? Because you will have different facilities, and all the places you may not be able to apply the same method. Okay, in a building you may not be able to use the stakes, there you may have to use the clamp. In the field you can use the stakes. Okay, but if the substation is completely concreted, then you may not be able to use this. Okay, that is the time you may have to use this kind of clamps. And another method of earth leakage testing is the ground loop resistance clamps, where you can use this. Also is a kind of, this clamp is actually 2 portion, one is a sourcing clamp and the measuring clamp, and this exactly working like the stateless method. Okay, 2 clamps. and but this is in a very small footprint, and you will be able to just clamp on to any of those earth wires and then find out what is the kind of leakage or what is the kind of earth resistance. All those things you will be able to find out. And this is a very critical device which can deploy in your system so that you can ensure a lot of malfunctions in your system. Then comes the battery analyzers, which I think we are close to an hour. I will be taking another 10-15 minutes to complete my presentation, and then we can have the Q&A. I hope it's okay. And here you can see
It's okay, sir.
Yeah, and battery test. See, most of the railway system or any of the customers' place, batteries are the critical power. And nowadays, the batteries are going to be the regular power itself. Okay, when you have more of solar generation or the wind generation, then you may have to store it and then use it. But batteries are the most neglected devices in any facility. But what happens when the batteries are all of electrochemical devices? It can deteriorate over a period of time because of various reasons. Okay, because the chemical composition or the chemical dielectric or the whatever the chemical inside a battery can change its behavior depending on various conditions. The temperature, the current passing through it, and the voltage levels, and even the humidity, all those things can change its condition. Excuse me. Can you mute yourself so that it will be beneficial for us? Yeah, thank you. And because of this, the battery measurement is actually very, very important. And what it helps you see helps to predict the health of batteries. That is, when you have an array of a bench of battery for very purpose, maybe 10 or 15 numbers of batteries in a array, and if one fails, then the entire other batteries also can get defected in no time. That's why what you need is you need to have a periodic testing to ensure that you are not actually spoiling the entire bunch of batteries. Help to ensure that the emergency power backup is always functioning. That is, when the emergency power backup is not working, then you will be at dark. Your system will completely come on stoppage. Okay, then measures battery voltage, ripple, and why ripple is most of the time you will have a battery and a charger connected to it. When this charger is initially supplied, you will have a better ripple control or better output and all. You would have made some specification. But over a period of time, after some time, when the charger gets some problem, somebody will come and then do the rectification. When the rectification is taken, what is the kind of ripple or what is the kind of output voltage it is giving? No one checks. And the ripple content in a DC power supply or a charger can literally kill the batteries because it's a AC signal. That's why it is always better to check the ripple also when you are doing the battery testing. And the resistance, internal resistance, is actually not resistance. What we do the measurement is the impedance of the because the batteries are not a resistance. Batteries are actually a capacitor. Okay, in the capacitor, the resistance is called impedance. The AC resistance of the capacitor or the battery can be measured using this, and it will also indicate how much power is left out in that. And even today, I think you are using the specific gravity tester for majority of your battery testing.
What
Yes,
is it?
yes, please. Can you mute yourself, please? Yeah. Interestingly, the specific gravity testers are actually meant good, or it will definitely good for open type of batteries where you have the access to the to collect that solution and then test what is the kind of chemical composition is left out or the pH levels are there. But what happens if it is sealed? And I think today you may be using more of sealed batteries. In such conditions, you may have to have this kind of digital battery analyzers, which can help you to find the underlying conditions or the electrolyte conditions or the heat conditions of the batteries in battery in your facilities. That is, even though it is all called as sealed maintenance free batteries, but it is nothing like a maintenance free battery available in the world. If you are not maintaining it, it will fail and you will be actually end up in getting failures and then difficult times, downtimes in your systems. And this is a standard which universally follow, that is IEEE 1188. This actually recommends what are those parameters you have to test in a battery and at what periodicity. That is voltage and current, temperature, ohmic values and ripple needs to be tested at different frequencies. You can see in the voltage and current also, voltage, overall float voltage and charger output and current voltage. Okay, current and voltage is actually required to be tested in the charger output, and the overall float voltage of your battery system needs to be tested, and DC float current also need to be tested, because this is string current or the overall current taken from the system. And this also is possible with our battery tester, because it also comes with a clamp for measuring the DC current. And then the temperature. Why temperature is important? Because the ambient temperature and the when the electrolysis process happens, there is a increase in temperature happens, and then you also have the ambient temperature. Okay, these two temperature can actually deteriorate the electrolysis process as well as the electrolyte inside a battery. Okay, that's why the temperature monitoring, especially in our system, the negative pole or negative probe also equipped with a temperature sensor. That's why the temperature present in the negative pole you will be able to get. And then internal ohmic values of each cell is important to test, and the cell to cell terminal connection resistance is actually need to be tested. Okay, and ripple, as I said, it needs to be tested. At least ripple, we are giving an indication of this 1 year, and there are some other tests like the charger output and output voltage and current. Monthly testing is actually required, and the DC float current is recommended to be tested on monthly, and ambient temperature is recommended to be tested on monthly. And there is a quarterly measurements like the overall float voltage, the current and voltage of charger, then DC float current and ambient temperature, then temperature of negative pole and cell resistance. And interestingly, when you do all these tests, how do you verify whether you can, today you are verifying, after 2 weeks or after a month also you are verifying, but how do you keep that records? That also we are sorting out by giving you an internal memory, and it can store those data for a string of batteries for months together, or you can even download it to a PC and then compare it in the timely basis. That means you can see whether my batteries are deteriorating or improving or maintaining the same internal condition. That's how you can be ensured that okay, these batteries are not dying without your permission or without your knowledge. Then comes the process tools, which is a very simple thing which may not be of much use to you, but yes, checking of temperature and pressure switches for readouts and sensors, troubleshooting of braking systems, or troubleshooting of calibration of engine control systems, or even some of the activation actuators what you use for even in the older type of your signaling systems. You may have some kind of arms, mechanical arms, which may be controlled through some kind of sensors. In that conditions, if you really want to find out whether that sensors are actually functioning or it is giving the exact 4 to 20 milliamps or some voltage levels, then you can use these kind of testers, which are very handy things, but very precise devices which can source or measure these kind of tiny voltages and currents. And then the thermal imagers, some of the applications I have given here, it is actually when you have thermal imagers, you can detect the thermal conditions, because many a time what happens when you have more of wires and the cables and all in your panels, you may not be knowing what is the kind of condition, which wire is actually carrying current and which is not carrying. Okay, by looking at with your naked eyes, you will not be able to find out. But if there is a fault or something, or even if the current is passing through a cable, that cable will be more heated or having higher temperature than the non-conducting one. And that is why it is very easy for you to identify what is this conditions of the cables and the subsystems, even a switch or a cable or a relay or any of those things, whether it is functioning or not. Even PCBs, we have supplied thermal images to identify working PCB and non-working PCBs in various applications. Okay, and all those things are possible using a thermal imager. You can simply identify the hotspots, and that too without touching those devices. Okay, that is more important. When you are having doubt whether there is overheating happening in some of the panels or a device, then it is very simple. You just open the panel and then use a thermal imager like this, and you will get a temperature thing. You are not even switching off the system. Okay, that's why your work will be much easier and fast. Okay, and trouble free. And then comes the thermal mapping. That is, when you feel the thermal mapping, you can see the complete picture is of thermal values. Okay, every pixel of this image is actually a temperature value, and especially in the railways, your pantograph kind of applications where you will have higher voltage and the loose contacts also can create problems, and detection of even some of the isolators and all. Isolated damage also can be used for the thermal imagers can be used for those kind of applications, and inspection of wheel and axle systems, because heat is present everywhere where it is moving or vibrating or electrical energy is passing, then heat is predominant there, and you will be able to identify those conditions. Some of the examples, maybe in the transformer heating, electrical side I have put it here in the yard, or insulators, circuit breakers, or cooling fans if you want to really check what is the kind of temperature variations, and fuse blocks, and then connections in electrical or signal panels you will be able to get, and then control panels, what kind of things, battery, especially in the battery compartment or battery banks where you have this kind of high temperature, you will be able to easily identify. And again, if you have a 12 battery string, and if you simply apply the thermal imager, you will be able to identify which battery is actually more hotter in that string. Okay, that also is very easy to identify. That's why the comparison study of temperature variation is very easy using a thermal imager. Then comes the power analyzer. This was one of the most popular power analyzer which we have recently replaced with the new model, and this can be used for the energy audit or the load study of your facilities. And very importantly, in case if you are finding any of the signals, digital signaling systems or your electronic signaling systems are actually malfunctioning without a clear reason, I can tell you it may be because of power quality, or it may be because of poor earthing. These two things, which if you can ensure that is good, then I'm sure that majority of the time the intermittent malfunction of the relays or the signaling systems or the communication systems can be stopped. Okay, that's why power quality and earthing in a facility is very critical to ensure this kind of digital or electronic systems to function. And troubleshooting of traction power systems also is important. That is anyway, that's a different thing altogether, because why I am telling this means, in one of the crane manufacturer, not crane manufacturer, this elevator manufacturing company actually approached to us by saying that, okay, when we installed our elevators in one of the metro stations, our control board is failing. Okay, and this failure happens not regular but once in a while, and we given them a power quality analyzer and a oscilloscope which can be connected continuously and then take the readings. When we analyzed, what we realized that, okay, when the trains comes and goes, that is when the train reaches the substation, the station, and then leaves, there is a kind of huge transient and disturbance in the voltage present in their input, and that is actually creating the real problem. And one of the location, the earthing was not isolated, that is the earthing interference was very high. That's why what we suggested them, you better have a dedicated earth and then identify once again what is happening this. and that is how they could actually safeguard their costly equipments. Because nowadays every metro stations and all, they are installing and maintaining it for at least a year or two, and they are finding it very difficult to answer all these things. And that is how the power quality can spoil your electronics and digital systems. As I said, the oscilloscopes, this is just like any other oscilloscope, but it is completely battery operated and handheld, so that any of the oscilloscope application you think, you can use my battery operated oscilloscopes, and it can be a very handy tool for taking to the field and then do the rectification. We also have another model which is very sleek, just like a multimeter you will get. And all our oscilloscopes, we call it a scope meter, because it is a combination of oscilloscope and a multimeter. That's why you can carry a oscilloscope for doing the multimeter function and the recording function and the oscilloscope function. And it is safest oscilloscope in the world, okay, as of today. Then, as I said, the air leak applications, the pneumatic pressure is used in many of your applications, where the leaking air or the compressed air can actually give misoperation of your braking systems, and this can be detected because your pneumatic lines will be running meters together, okay, 100 200 meters together, and through various networks and bogies and other things. Then if you really want to check where exactly these leaks are happening, then you will be able to detect it very quickly. Like this, it's just like a thermal imager screen, or a, see, this is the instrument what you are doing, and this is the way it is detecting the leaks, just like a spot from where that leak is coming, okay, like this. So easy for you to detect the leaks. Or even the partial discharge you want to detect, same way you will be able to detect the partial discharge. And this device, say, we call it as acoustic imager or the sonic imager, and this comes with 64 acoustic sensors and a camera, so that it will from the entire field of view, it will capture those sound waves and then put from where it is coming in the visual image. That is how it helps you to find the leaks. And I am just moving from this to the completely the communication side. That is when you also have the digital rail infrastructure, where you have more of communication networks. Okay, you may be using a MBB or WTB or ECN kind of, that is Ethernet based, or the wired communication networks for your system. Okay, in such systems, or even a digital signal, that is railway signaling, you may be using some kind of networks. Okay, and railway ticketing mechanism, this also is now computerized or digital. Okay, even your security systems, which is again connected. Okay, station annunciation systems, this also will be connected to through Ethernet or a communication line. Okay, these are all actually, even Wi-Fi communication also need a connector or a OFP cables, that's optical fiber cables, right? And when you have this communication systems, it is very, very important for you to ensure that your data cabling is very, very important. And if the cabling is not proper, or if you are not doing a maintenance of the cabling, then you may end up getting data losses, or you may end up getting some erratic information. Okay, to avoid that, what we give, that is, we can give see, good quality products can be destroyed by bad installation practices. That is, you may be having best instrumentation or best products for installation, but the bad practices can actually spoil your network equipments or your devices or your system itself. Okay, and to do that, what will you test in a copper installation? That is, copper installation, when I say, you have the Ethernet cables or the cables which is metallic, or the copper cables what you are connecting. Here you have the copper communication link will have the connectors on both sides. It can be any kind of 2-pair or 4-pair cables in the middle with the connectors, that RJ45 or any of those kind of plugs you will be using in both the ends. And then these are all the components what you will be using in the networking systems. But how do you test these things? Okay, you may have some switches, you may have some connectors, cables, all those advanced systems, right? You also have communication panels. Okay, here if it is optical fiber, again you have this two different kind of things like multi-mode cable or single mode cables, and many types of connectors. It all depends on your what kind of system you are connecting or what kind of standards you are following. Then you may have different kind of connectors also. But testing is actually the capability of fiber optic cable to support high speed data is based on measurements of cleanliness, loss, length, polarity, and optimum optical return loss. Okay, these are all the parameters you may have to even test for the optical fibers. Okay, if it is not properly clean, that is, it's actually a kind of pipe, right? If it is having some dust or something in the end or inside, then you may not get the proper data transmission. Similarly, the length and this one needs to be maintained appropriately, and then the polarity you need to maintain, and the return losses, because the how much loss is happening in the cables, because quality of the cable or the constructional issues or even the installation practices can create some quality issues in this, or the return losses also will be high. That's why you have to test these cables to ensure appropriate data communication and loss of data or efficiency of communication. Okay, what we offer, this is actually coming from Fluke Networks. This is a product called DSX 5000 cable analyzer, which is a industrial Ethernet cable tester, or cable analyzer is what we talk. And here you can do all kind of cables used for industrial Ethernet or Ethernet communication, and it can also have an optional fiber optic modules. That means you will be able to do both fiber optic as well as the Ethernet or the copper cable communication systems testing using these two testers. And then comes the another product, which is a link LIQ kit, that is link IQ kit, which is basically again for the metallic or the cable copper cable applications for a similar network, that is for the networking or the cable uh, applications. But I think this may be more useful for your application for railway. Okay, but anyway, this is not my expert area, definitely. And in case if you have more questions, I can get back to you, or whatever I can answer here, I will be able to answer in this. And I think this is the last slide for me. And when it comes to Fluke, why you need to choose Fluke? Definitely, these are all the few reasons. Some 6 reasons I have kept, because accurate and reliable instruments. Then you have all our products are designed and certified for highest safety or the standards. That's why you can trust us the best, and designed around the customer in mind. That means the most of our products, many of our products are actually designed based on the customer feedbacks. Even we change our designs if the customer is telling no, it is this is not the way it's supposed to work. In fact, we have conducted 2 VOCs very recently for our upcoming product. Even 3 of the customers from India actually contributed to that. That's why every customer of ours actually contribute to our new products. Okay, easy to use and rugged. That's why you have the best and easy to use products. Solution not for the not the products. We don't give a simple product for you or a box for you. We actually address a problem and give you a solution. That is our idea. And then when it comes to the peace of mind, we also give the best industry standard warranties. Okay, some of our products, the most used DMMs comes with lifetime warranty, and many of our products comes with 3 years warranty, and some comes with 1 year and 2 years. That's why when you want to choose Fluke, you have a reason for that. Okay, and we have the product for every application what you can find. Okay, this is all from me. Thanks a lot for your time. I'm sorry I have exceeded some 20 minutes in the presentation. I'll be open for questions.
Thank you, sir, for the excellent content.
Thank you.
And there are a few questions in the chat box, sir.
Yeah.
First
Just
of
read.
all, there is
Yeah.
a question from Mr. Tilak Chand.
Okay.
He's asking, can some basic optical measurements be incorporated in multimeters?
It's a fantastic input. Anyway, this optical measurement device, what we have shown in the last slides, it will be actually helping you to do many of these tests. In case if you need it in a multimeter, it's a good input. What I will do is I can even give this feedback to our engineering team. Maybe in future we will have that kind of tool. Thanks for giving that feedback.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting it forward, sir. This question was from me.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback. Okay. Maybe
Yes.
this is a real requirement. We can even incorporate that because we have both these capabilities and we have independent devices for that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Almost
Yeah.
everything is shifting to optical fibers in as far as telecom is concerned, sir.
Correct. Yeah. That's why maybe it's a good ask, and hopefully Fluke will give you those kind of devices. Okay. I will also check with the Fluke network team whether they have anything already available. Okay, which is more than a OF tester. We can come back to you on this. Thanks.
Sir, we actually feel that requirement while working on the field.
True, true. True. This is actually a good thing. What I will do is I will pass it to them because we also are having some Kaizen happening for the new products. In that also I will present this, and I may reach out to you. Maybe I hope you people will share me your contact details so that I can. Can I get your name, sir? What is your
So my name is Tilak Chand. I'm from
Tilak
Northern
Chand?
Railway, Delhi Division.
Okay, Tilak Chand, Delhi Division. Okay.
So, Tilak ji, you may please share your mobile number and email in the chat box. And you can also give the suggestion in our feedback form. The link for the same I have given in the chat box. So, please do share it there.
We'll
Yeah,
do it,
that will
sir.
be
We'll do
great.
it.
Yes,
Okay.
that will be
And
great.
sir, the next question is from me. And during the discussion over DMMs,
Yeah.
you have told us there are certain category numbers.
Yeah.
So, can you please elaborate over this?
See, actually, it is the safety category is what I was referring. 1 second, sir. My happened. System is down. See, actually, if you look at the first few slides, see the category rating is basically the safety rating of devices. Okay, when any equipment as per IEC 61010, sorry, 61010, that is safety standard. You need to test or the any equipment meant for electrical voltage or current measurement, it needs to be tested for or designed and tested for electrical safety. Why it is required? The category 4 rate, they have classified different working areas based on some studies. That is, if the high voltage area is there, like a yard or a railway line where the high voltage uh, transmission line or a distribution line or a transformer is present, where the expected high voltage is like 8 kV and above. That means it comes under the category 4. Okay. And if you are using a multimeter which is designed for category 2, this category 2 area, the expected voltage is only 4 kV. Okay. And if a multimeter or a test device is tested for that 4 kV and you are taking that 4 kV meter here, what happens? Here sometimes the voltage will be present at 8 kV and the instrument will fail. Okay, this voltage present, what I am talking is the transients. Okay, because of any fault or because of a what you call lightning strike or because of some other power quality reasons, you may expect a high voltage pulse in these areas. It can be above 8 kV here, above 6 kV here, above 4 kV here, and above 2 kV here. And your operating voltage of a multimeter is only 600 volt or 1000 volt, right? What happens when these kind of high transients comes? The insulation property of the multimeter or the cable can fail, and then you will be exposed. You will be the first contact coming to the current or voltage, and it will be a safety hazard. I hope you are able to follow me.
Yes, sir.
And you will find this rating in multimeter's body itself. But many a time people, the low cost models also gives that safety rating category 3 like that. It will be mentioned there, but they will not be having any listing or a certificate from a third party. That's why it is better to ask for a listing certificate or a test certificate for this kind of safety from the manufacturer, so that you can ensure that you are getting a safer product for that.
So, sir, this impulse voltage which is given in kV,
Yeah,
it is the transient voltage.
it's a transient voltage. It is
Okay,
actually
sir.
IEC classifies that, okay, you need to apply, I think, 10 pulses per second or something, or 60 second or something. You have to do it. That is how you need to test these devices. Okay.
So this is applicable only for DMMs or for all types of meters, sir?
All kind of measuring devices used in the electrical systems.
Okay, sir. Okay, it's a
It
very
can
good
be
point, sir.
yeah, it can be a multimeter, it can be a clamp meter, it can be a power analyzer, it can be even sometimes air tester also classifies, but air tester is not mandatory to have this because you are not measuring the voltage.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
air tester, you are actually measuring the resistance. That's why it need not to be with the category rating. But for other measurements, if you are measuring voltage and current, definitely you need it to have. Okay,
Yes.
like in live conditions, if you are measuring anything, then it is important.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now the next question is from Mr. Hari H. Das.
Yeah.
He wants to ask what is mean by RCD testers.
Yeah, RCD testers are actually you have the residual current devices like ELCBs, right? Those kind of devices are actually used to used in your buildings. Even in your home, you have the RCD at the incoming side, right? If something goes wrong, your geyser have a short circuit, your ELCB trips off, right? And that ELCB, how do you test it? Because all the ELCBs or the RCDs needs to be tripped well within that 30 milliampere current. If the 30 milliampere current leakage is happening through the earth, and within some few millisecond, this device should trip. Usually, none of us test these devices when we install it, or we will wait till some tragedy happens to find whether it is working or not. That time will be too late. And in actual best practices in Europe and US and even in Australia, there is a safety standard put in place, and they say that every building should have a LCBs and RCDs, and you need to test it every 6 months or a year. Okay, in India we don't even mandate the ELCBs for buildings. Okay, some states it's there, some states it's not there, and this is same for maybe in railway also. Some of the systems, or even where coaches, what happens when there is a short circuit in the coach? Will it trip off? It should trip off, right? Otherwise it can electrocute the entire passengers. Okay, how do you test those devices which is actually tripping the system? Okay, this is the device. Actually, I can show you that device here. Yeah, this is the device which actually injects the leakage current to the RCD or the LCB, and then gives you the timing, how fast it is tripping. It verifies whether it is tripping, and it also tells the loop impedance of it. How much is the loop impedance and how fast it is tripping at what current. So that
Is
you
this
can,
is this
yeah.
pre-installation testing?
Yes, pre-installation as well as for maintenance you need to do. In India, we have a customer who is regularly buying this, and he uses more than 50 units in my knowledge. It may be more, and who is actually an elevator manufacturer. Okay, it's a European elevator manufacturer who buys this product exclusively to test his tripping circuit, because in elevator also it is all metallic, right? If there is short circuit or something, the person on the elevator can actually get killed. That's why what they do during the installation, even during the testing at that factory, they use my product and verify whether their ELCB or that tripping circuit is working or not.
Okay.
Okay, and many customers also are there. Government customers also are using, but there is no standard as of now in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
the
Any other questions, sir?
If any participant wants to ask any further questions, you may please ask.
Yeah, if there is no more questions, I think we can close it, and
Yes,
I'll be
sir.
happy to answer any questions or receive any suggestions, and you can even give some suggestions or feedback on my presentation also, in case if you feel that okay, I need to improve or I need to do something, or on the content, you can give us inputs. That will be a great thing, because I can also learn, and I can also improve. It will be a kind of help how you are giving it to me in person, personally, I would say. Okay, thanks a lot. My number is here, and Misra ji has my email ID also. I can be reached out.